Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. All right, we are back. Thank you for sticking with the break there. I got a great guest. As you see, I am joined by the one and only Michelle Dickey. Michelle, welcome back to the program. So nice to have you. How are you doing today?
We're doing well. It's great to be back. Thank you for having me back.
Well, I always love having you because you are a very successful author. You're a trauma specialist. You're a consultant, and you're the founder at Consulting for Heightened Awareness. Can you refresh the audience and tell people a little bit about those things I just brought up?
Absolutely. Yes, Consulting for Heightened Awareness is a ministry that specializes in helping survivors of abuse, narcissistic abuse, trauma survivors overcome the trauma associated from that, as well as overcoming trauma triggers. And I offer the guidance and support every step of the way with individual and group sessions every Tuesday through Sunday. And right now, through July 31st of 2022, there's now 50% off all individual sessions. Got
Nice.
30-minute sessions, yeah, as part of our 1-year anniversary celebration. So 50% off 30 minutes, 1 hour, and 2 hours.
Wow.
Okay, and then the group sessions are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Those are group support sessions, breaking the trauma cycle, the cycle of abuse, things like that. And then on Fridays, the group session is a life skills session. So we're still gathering data and feedback from the audience on what kind of skills that they want for the month of June, so I can get that updated. So
Okay.
we're in that process right now. It's probably going to be time management, but there's some other things that people are throwing at me. So let's see what comes in from that. And then also we've got a sale 20 promotion going on, and I just got this on the navigation page of the website. So if you go to the home page, you scroll down in the navigation menu down at the bottom, you'll see a sale, SALE, in all caps, and the number 20, and you use that promo code for some select items, and all the items that are available for that promo are listed on that page. So you can pick one of those and get 20% off when you use that promo code at checkout. And that's going to be for the rest of the year of 2022 as part of the celebration, because we have so many things that just happened right after the other. This 1-year anniversary.
That's
and
awesome.
Then also, it's really great. And then the free monthly newsletter is for breaking the trauma bond to the world. And basically all of those tips that are in the newsletter also apply to breaking unhealthy attachments to people and things. And so all of those tips can be applied to the individual level as well as to people in general. When you feel like you have to always be around people, and you can overcome that. And then also to items. So as I say often, God tells us we didn't bring anything in this world, so we surely can't take anything out. And so I just want to also let everyone know we have a magazine, the BTBW magazine, over there on the website as well. And that's available for just $5. And you can download that on up to 3 devices. And you will be able to print it out and laminate it for future reference as a reminder or whatever. Because what that has is all of the newsletters from 2021, from June to December, on different tips, okay, for breaking trauma bonds, and some additional insight in that magazine. So that's available also, and you'll see that title in the navigation menu on the website as well. Okay, and so we're always fine-tuning and tweaking things along the way. That's what it's all about, right? As we learn new things,
Totally,
stuff like that. Yeah. So, and then also the book promotion team is launching a free Kindle version giveaway of Real Events of Narcissistic Abuse. And this is the paperback version available on Amazon. The paperback version available on the website, it's just the difference is it's a little bit larger.
Okay.
That's it. Okay. The content's the same, but it's just a little bit larger. All about preference, preference.
Yeah. People's preference. I really like different things.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also the PDF download available of this book as well only on the website, PDF format, because some people like that easy to read, and you can download that up to 3 devices. So there you go. Because most people have a PC, a phone, and a tablet, right?
Yeah, we got them coming out of our ears. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, so that's it on that right there. And so let's go ahead if we want to tackle some of the questions.
Oh yeah, you know what I thought was so cool, and I think I was talking about it last week. You are like me and like a lot of other people, where if someone takes the time and they want to ask you a question, you told me, you said, we got to answer those questions. We got to get to them, because if they took the time, you're all about being great. Excuse me, you're all about being grateful. And you said, I really, Case, I want to answer those questions. I thought that was cool. I like that, because it's like,
Yeah.
when someone takes the time, we got to give it back to them, right?
Right. We don't want to leave them hanging.
You got it. Okay, so Mr. Producer is gonna let us go on that. What you got there, my man?
We have Matt in Sacramento.
Hey, Matt.
And Matt says, can writing about a traumatic experience cause us to tense up during the writing process?
Oh, good question. Yeah. Now, I will tell you this. It depends on where you're at in the healing process.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, that's going to depend. Because if you're anybody, my suggestion on that is, if you're writing about it and if it's causing any kind of tension or triggering you, then it might not be time yet to write it. Okay, the best advice that we can give on that is, you want to make sure that, even to go over it, the more that you go over it before, if you find yourself tensing up, I would say stop right there, and then take a breath and continue healing, and then go back, read what you got so far. If it's still tensing you up, take a breather, step back, heal some more. And eventually, finally, when you come back after you read it enough times and it's no longer tensing you up, then you're ready to finish the writing, finish the book, whatever it is you're writing, because that will let you know that you have healed well enough to be able to do it, because you don't want the reader to get tense, because that's how that's how you'll write, that's how they'll read it. And so
gotcha.
you want it to be in that in that calm and relaxed state. That way, when the reader reads it, they too will sense the calm and all of that with it.
That's a great answer. But I got to ask you. I mean, you're a hugely successful author, and you know this like the back of your hand. Have you ever had to write on a difficult subject? Because I've heard other authors saying, actually Charles Bukowski, I think he said, writing is pain. So have you ever had a situation where you're like, yeah, this hurts, but I gotta get through it? Or did you take your own advice? What do you think?
I took my own advice, actually, for this one, for the latest one on real events narcissistic abuse, because I knew I couldn't rush it.
Yeah.
And at the time that it was forming, the ideas and everything on how I was going to do it, and when I actually started kind of drafting it out, I was still in a toxic workplace. So I knew that I wasn't going to be able to finish it the way that I wanted to have it while I was still there. So I had to wait until God delivered me out from under that. And he did. Oh, he always does. So then I was able to, get out of there and get really involved in the business. And I had some other schoolwork to finish up. So I would have to tell you that, yes, during the school journey, that would be where there would be some painful writing.
I say a lot of motion probably was with you at that point. So you were just like, let me just take a step back here. I'm not going to forget this stuff.
Right.
But it's your writing. Do you think if you wrote it, your writing might have been different? It might have been like too emotional, too tense, like you said.
Yeah, because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going, because it won't re-traumatize anyone. And so that's the thing about it. That's why I wanted to make sure that we left out, I left out gory details. I mean, come on, mushy gushy stuff. Everybody's got their own imagination. They can imagine what's that. We wanted this to be to the point, for the identification of red flags that we all missed in the abusive situation thing. So I wanted it to be very to the point and not too dramatic or anything like that. Just to the point. This is what happened. Here was a red flag. And then also I wanted to make sure that we help people unlearn that thinking process where all their exes are the abuser, because that's not the case. I've got a couple of stories in here where a couple of guys they were very nice guys. It wasn't them. It was one of them. It was their mother that drove the wedge. And yeah, it was crazy making. And then the other, it was a jealous female roommate of the guy that I was dating. So not every situation is going to be the fact that because they were very sweet, gentle. They were not the abuser. Okay. So I want everybody to keep their mind open, because there's a lot of narrative going around out there from other survivors and stuff. Because one thing we learn is that the abusers themselves are the ones that go around and accuse all their exes of being crazy. And we're like, nah, see, that's
a red flag, right? That's a red flag you talk about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I was like, nah, that's just not true.
Right.
Not everybody. And that's why I have a video over there on YouTube where I talk about not everybody is a narcissistic abuser. One person was trying to spin the narrative that all influencers are narcissistic, and I was like, no, they're confident. They're the difference. So you see how the enemy's trying to confuse people?
Yeah.
The difference between what narcissistic abuse is and that versus being confident. There's a big difference, but he's trying to blur the line. That's typical, right?
Yeah. I wonder why. I wonder who it serves to benefit.
Right, exactly. You want always in every battle, just like a spiritual battle, they always got to try to paint the good guy as the bad guy.
Gotcha.
So you got to get the handle on that. Once you do, you're like, oh, really? Can see what they're doing.
He's like, I've been down this road before. You're not gonna put the wool over my eyes. I've been here before, so I got
exactly.
You. Great question, great answer, Mr. Producer. What else you got for Miss Michelle?
All right, we have Tara in Buffalo, and she wants to know, I have a friend that finally came forward about trauma after 8 years. Is it ever too late to come forward?
That good question. Also, no, it's never too late. Every trauma survivor it's going to be different on their time, on God's time, because every situation is unique to the individual survivor. And so we can't, it's like, that's why we don't operate under a one size fits all umbrella.
Right.
Okay, with the work we do, because you can't, even though patterns of abuse are very similar, the circumstances, I teach this often, they're going to be different for the individual. And it also for the length of time that the person found themselves in. There's a lot of survivors that were in a very bad relationship, toxic situation for 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
Wow.
And that takes a while to overcome and to process and to really get a handle, and to accept that it happened. Now, by the way, accepting that it happened is not excusing it at all. It's just part of the healing process, and it's a necessary one, because there's little steps in the healing process. And you'll hear this in many of my videos over on the YouTube channel. Real quick, the video channels are titled Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance for a reason. Those are the two fundamental components, like I said in the last show, of this spiritual battle for the mind. Okay. So, but every trauma survivor is going to, even if it takes 10 years, 15 years before they're ready, only they can know that.
They're the only ones that know that.
Exactly. They're the only ones who are going to know when their heart and when their mind is clear, when their emotions are regulated and they found a little bit of peace, then they'll know, they'll be comfortable. It's all about what they're comfortable with. Right. And a good example would be, if, for survivors who, want to book a session, but they missed the morning one, and they'll email me, and I'm like, well, I set up the group one, but then the evening individual one still. And then they're like, well, what if someone else in the group? I said, well, I can't guarantee that it will just be you and me. So it depends on what they're comfortable with. Mm-hmm. If they're not comfortable yet being in a group setting, then they'll take the individual session. Same kind of concept there,
Yeah.
because their story is so unique to them. Their experience is so unique to them that we don't, we can pretty much, we know what they went through because we went through it ourselves. However, it's however they process it. It's
Yeah.
on their, on their own and stuff. So it can take a while. I
Yeah.
can't imagine 50 years. I can't imagine how long that will take.
Wow. Yeah. So this Tara, who said it's been 8 years. There's nothing that is out that this is unheard of. You've seen this a
Right.
lot.
Right. Yeah,
Got it.
it take a long time, and I see it a lot too with those who are just coming out of the abusive traumatic experience, and they'll book, and then they'll come up, and then they'll have a bad day. They'll go through some of the sickness and the other thing, and they'll need to reschedule. So that's why we've got the reschedule link finally working. We resolved that thanks to a fellow warrior helped us get that situated, because and not only that, things happen.
Yeah.
But that's why we don't do contracts, and we don't want anyone to feel obligated, because we understand that it's going to take a while. It might take someone a year or 2 years or 3 years before they're ready to even book a session.
Wow.
So yeah, and that's one thing I learned in the trauma training, is that that's why this kind of work takes an extreme amount of patience.
So people got to be patient. People, it's okay to give it some time. That's okay, you say.
Yes, absolutely. Give yourself time, the space, and be patient with yourself. That's really a big one right there.
That's hard, right? Sometimes
it is.
Yeah,
it is, Casey. I would tell you, because I've got several of them. They're like, "Oh, I wish the healing process was just done already," and I'm like, I know, we know the feeling.
Yeah,
we do, because you feel like you're reaching little milestones, and so you're like, okay, great, and then all of a sudden, boom, flashback. And you're like, darn it.
I was going so good, but that's right. Patience is a virtue.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, I'm speaking with the one and only Miss Michelle Dickey, and Mr. Producer. Great question, by the way, on excuse me, on both of our questions here. What else you got?
We have Aaron in Nashville wants to know, how do we handle it if someone we know is going through trauma, and how can we spot it?
Okay, great one. Allah. Okay. All right. If you are spotting a loved one or even a friend or a coworker or whatever, and you see that they're experiencing trauma, the one thing we learn is we don't approach them about it. Okay. We just learn how to be there for them, be the listening ear, be your support system, because we can't ask, we don't want to ask them questions, because during the very beginning, that means they'll be liable to lash out. They don't mean to, but they'll be at that very beginling, okay? Because they're trying to get it. What's happening is they're trying to get a handle on what just happened. They're trying to wrap their head around, all of what's going on, and and they're still struggling with triggers. They're still easily triggered. Okay, and that's really one way you can tell, is if you do ask just a simple question, and then they kind of like lash out at you. Okay, that's a good indicator that we go step back. Step back and go. Okay, let them go through, process that however it is they need to, and eventually, just like from the other question, they'll to show that you're there for them. Just be okay, and patient. See, everybody's got to have some patience in this, right?
Yeah.
So if you're I know it's sad to watch and witness, when they're having those bad moments, but you can just let them know, hey, whenever you're ready, I'm here for you.
I'm here.
Okay? Yeah. Just simply calmly letting them know that when they're ready, you're there for them, and that will go a long way.
Great answer. Do you think that as men, we kind of jump the gun sometimes? Like we sometimes we make the mistake, we don't listen, we want to solve. That's probably the last thing you need at that point, right?
Well, that's very true, but I'm here to tell you, it's not just men. Believe it or not, it's
Yeah,
not just men. I think both men and women
we're
that
both
when
guilty.
they we are we're going through that experience, or we just had a trigger or whatever for both men and women who are trying to heal from it. We tend to have our moments like
Yeah.
that, and of course we do overcome that. I want everyone to know that it's totally doable to overcome that eventually, over time, again, that patience, things
Patience.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
it's
then
it's tough, the patience when you care about somebody. It probably comes from a good place.
I got, yes, absolutely, absolutely. I was coming from that care, the concern, and just like our parents. Because I'll go ahead and share with y'all. It's like when I was getting myself back together and chasing down all of the crazy making things that the ex psychopath roommate did, tampering with all my devices and stuff. And I remember my stepdad, bless his heart, he was like, "My gosh, you can't replace anything else. What next?" I mean, they were just letting me go through what I had to go through
Yeah.
and clean things up. And then of course we discovered spyware that he put on my mom's phone, so we got that take. I mean, I jumped into gears to clean. These people leave a mess
Wow.
behind for us to clean up, and so that's what I was focusing on. But they watched the whole movie unfold, and so it was tough for them too. It took them a little bit longer to level back out because they kind of went through it with me. So
So,
but they were there,
so was that
that's
a help
and
or a hindrance that they went with you, what they went through it? Was that a source of support?
it was a source of support, because they saw firsthand
Yeah.
exactly what happened. And in fact, they were kind of my rescuers for many situations, coming to rescue me with a U-Haul.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm with you.
So that so they watched me go through, and that's why it was funny, because we had someone ask my mom, had she read my book, and I was like, "Well, you saw the movie." She was like, "That's true." She's like, "I don't really have to, because I saw it. I saw
Right,
the whole
right.
thing."
Oh, that's great. Mr. Producer, do we get time for one more? Yeah. All right, cool. This is a great show here. I'm glad you're connecting with your listeners and your fans. Michelle Dickey. Michelle, where can we get a hold of you? Social media, anything that you want people to know, how we get a hold of you.
Okay. Yeah, you can check out where we are on social media by clicking on the My Social link on the homepage navigation drop down menu. There's one My Social, and you'll see all the Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Quora, all of the social sites that we are on there. And you can also call 704-245-4340, or you can send an email to Michelle Dickey at cdhrwdrmd.org. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your support. Until next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Love having you on, guys. 704-245-4340. Once again. All right. What a great guest. Michelle Dickey, everybody.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.